Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of Around the Slice. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I know this has been the Packers episode you've all been waiting for from me, and really people in general. I know people have covered the Bills' roster moves this past week and how they affect the team going into free agency, and honestly, even next year. Unfortunately, I had to wait a couple days because when this all went down on Wednesday, March 6th, so a couple days ago now, because it's Friday, March 8th, I was at my internship basically all afternoon into the evening time, and I stayed later than usual. And when this came down, I wasn't home, so I couldn't come down here and do anything recording. And then yesterday, being Thursday, I wanted to have a day of buffer just to reflect on what happened, to get my thoughts together for this podcast, jot some notes down and whatnot, and just see if Brandon Bean was still going on that heater he went on Wednesday. But anyway, we're going to break it all down. I'm going to give the move to you and then say how it affects the team right now. And just, I don't really have any notes for this podcast other than what the move is and cap numbers and this and that. So I'm just going to give it to you straightforward and explain kind of what my thought process is here. So I am going to go in the order of how this happened. So, or I should say the order of when it happened, like chronological order of what went down when. First order of business, I think I have about 12 bullets here. So 12 different moves between cuts, re-signings, restructures, and actually signing of one new player. Bills released running back Naheem Hines, clearing $4.6 million in cap space. So I'll say the cap space savings with the restructure cut or re-signing along with it. So Bills cut running back Naheem Hines, saving $4.6 million in cap space. Now listen, I knew this was a possibility. Hines, along with one other player we're going to mention a little later. Hines was probably the most obvious, I want to say, of the cuts. But the way Brandon Bean was saying after the season, like he's well on his way to recovery from the jet ski incident, unfortunate incident, if you don't know, in July, literally a few days before training camp started. He was just sitting stationary on a jet ski, and some some reckless person, I guess, someone just bashed into his knee and totally jacked up his knee and screwed it up and he tore his ACL because of that. I guess he took legal action. I don't know where that headed, but this is kind of interesting because after the season, Brandon Bean said, "Yeah, Naheem Hines is," and I'm paraphrasing. I don't know the exact quote, but basically he said Naheem Hines is well on his way to recovery. He should be ready by training camp. I anticipate him being part of our plans in 2024. From that little trail of notes and nuggets there, if you will, he'll be ready by training camp. But keyword, he'll be ready. I anticipate him being on our team in 2024, being next season, the 2024 season. So I thought he was going to be here. I thought your running back room was going to be James Cook, Naheem Hines, maybe Ty Johnson comes back, and you need a downhill rusher, and maybe just for competition, add in a day 3 rookie, rounds 4 through 7, mind you. So I anticipate Naeem Hines based off those comments, but 4.6 million is a lot of money to guarantee someone next year for coming off no fault of his own jet ski incident, but coming off a torn ACL. And honestly, this really saddens me. I don't know if saddens the right word. This really kind of like this release doesn't puzzle me, but I am wondering what could have been like. What if Naeem Hines never got injured? What if when he was traded, because we only gave up Zach Moss and a 5th round pick to the Colts for Naheem Hines. And yeah, he caught that one touchdown against Miami in 2022 when he came to this team. And he was really working off the other running backs with James Cook and I can't believe I'm blinking. Oh, Devin Singletary the season before he went to the Texans. So, but basically, he was a return specialist only. Now, phenomenal return specialist, like arguably an All Pro. I know he didn't make All Pro, but All Pro caliber returner that year. I say that year, it was just a couple years ago because he returned 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was emotional against the Patriots game. A few days, literally 6 days after the DeMar Hamlin snap, and we wouldn't have won that game without him. Takes the opening kickoff back, and then later on, later on in the game, the third quarter, fourth quarter, I think it was, whatever. Second half, bottom line, he took another kickoff return touchdown. But I'm getting off track here. I really wanted to see what Naeem Hines, kind of a full season in our offense could look like a full training camp because he never had a training camp with the Bills. He was traded in the trade deadline of October of 2022, was on the Bills for half a season. He was going to have a training camp heading in August of 2023 in preseason, but he didn't because obviously a jet ski incident, like I said multiple times here, he tore his ACL and then he's cut, so he won't have a training camp this year. Now, yes, is there a possibility Nyheim Hines come back? Is there a possibility any of these players come back? Yes, that it's rare, but it happens. If Nyheim Hines he goes out and can't find more than the $4.6 million we cut him for and saved in cap space, which I doubt he will, come off the torn ACL and basically only a utility back in his career, change of pace back, unfortunately, and just return specialist, all pro caliber return specialist, mind you, but still just a return specialist. He could come back, but I'm not anticipating any of these guys comes back. That would just be kind of weird. None of these guys left because of fractured relationships. That rarely happens in Buffalo. It used to happen, unfortunately, years before I started this podcast. Fractured relationships happen all the time. Draft picks would say, please God, no, don't draft me. Buffalo, no free agents want to come. They had to overpay for free agents and all that. Now people want to be here. So when it's a cut, it's not fractured relationships. It's purely to save money from Brandon Beam. But there's the Nyheim Hines again move, and there's my thoughts on it. Once again, my big takeaway here is what if, man? Like, what if Nyheim Hines had been onboarded for a full season this upcoming season? What if he never tore his ACL? I guess he is a little bit too similar. Actually, he's a lot bit too similar to James Cook. I look at him as more of a veteran. It's not like he's old or anything. He's what, 28, 29 years old, if that. I think he's 28 or 29, somewhere in there. So I view him as a more veteran presence, a more veteran version of James Cook. But I guess they were too similar, and the writing was kind of on the wall here once he tore his ACL, unfortunately. But once again, cutting running back Nyheim Hines saves $4.6 million. Moving on, again, going in the order of how this all went down. Now this happened. The timing of this was kind of weird. This happened Monday night at like 9:30 p.m., 9:30 at night. So Bills trade offensive lineman Ryan Bates to the Chicago Bears for a 2024 fifth round pick. Now they did that for the fifth round pick, but the move also saves $1.4 million in cap space. So, well, you're saying, Aiden, $1.4 million. Who cares? Guys, heading in all this week before free agency frenzy with Brandon Beane, the Bills were at like negative 40 million, so $40 million over the cap. They had to do stuff, and I get why Ryan Bates wanted to go to Chicago. They signed him to an offer sheet in 2000 March. Was it 2021 or 22? Somewhere in there. Bottom line, a couple years ago, March of that year, they signed him to do an offer sheet. But Bates, he was a restricted free agent. The Bills matched the offer. It was like 4 years, something kind of overpaid ridiculousness for a seventh offensive lineman. So they wanted to ship him out. And I understand why, because Ryan Bates wanted to be a starter, and it seems like they were just done with Ryan Bates. He can play center. It's probably where he best fits. Guard, or in a pinch. Remember when he first came to Buffalo, his first year in Buffalo, he was a tackle. So in a pinch, like hell or high water situation, emergency situation, whatever you want to call it, he can play tackle for you. But he's mostly suited at center at this point in his career. So he was Mitch Morse's backup. And he was beat up by Osiris Torrance, and his versatility is good. But the saying goes, like, if you could play all five spots, then the team will prefer you off the bench because you're the first guy off the bench if anyone gets injured. All the way from left tackle, all the way to right tackle, left guard, right guard, center. Whoever gets injured, you'll be the first guy up. And there was really no room for him. But once he was cut to save once he was cut, he was traded to the Bears. I'm getting ahead of myself. He was traded to the Bears for a fifth round pick, save $1.4 million cap space. We are absolutely loaded with draft picks now. 11 draft picks. In some of those late day 3 rounds are saturated. I think they have 3 fourth rounders and 3 sixth rounders. Come on. Guys, that's ridiculous. Ridiculous in a good way. They're not. I don't think Brandon. Actually, I know Brandon Beane isn't going to make 11 draft picks on board 11 rookies. They're going to maybe make 7 or 8 draft picks, and 5 or 6 of those will make the 53-man roster initially. And obviously, you have some practice squad, but obviously, you've had some guys being poached on cut day. Usually, what, a week before the season starts, right after the third preseason game, a few days after. You've had Luke Tenuta be poached. You've had Jack Anderson be poached. You've had Alex Austin be poached. You have Nick Broker be poached. I don't say poached in a bad way. I say that just pays homage and tribute to how well of a system Sean McDermott and being run over there, as much as people, non-Bills fans, bash it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this Ryan Bates one kind of surprised me, but he views himself as a starter. Bears recently released Cody Whitehair a couple of weeks ago. Last week I think it was, actually early last week, somewhere around there. So he could slide in the guard spot to replace Cody Whitehair. He views himself as a starter, and I don't blame him. But he's not going to find that in Buffalo because obviously we're locked up with Cyrus Torrance at right guard, who already beat him out. So Ryan Bates traded to the Bears for a fifth-round pick, saves $1.5 million in cap space. It's kind of a bonus, if you want to call it, a cherry on top. Next, Bills re-signed guard David Edwards to a 2-year, $6 million deal, $3 million AAV. That's pretty simple. 6 divided by 2, 3. I always look at the AAV because that really interests me, the market value, what are guys getting per year and all this. So $3 million per year for 2 years, total of 2 years, $6 million deal, as I said. Once Ryan Bates was traded to the Bears, this was an absolute must. Must re-sign David Edwards because even before free agency started, and which they did. Brandon Beane moved swiftly and quickly, whatever you want to call it. David Edwards was a must re-sign once Ryan Bates was traded because now you don't have that Ryan Bates guardless center versatility in a pinch tackle, but mainly guardless center versatility off the bench anymore. So there goes your depth. And if David Edwards had left, oh my God, you would be coming up. Your depth would be Tommy Doyle at tackle, who's coming off 2 torn ACLs 2 years in a row. And then you have Alec Anderson and Ryan Vandemark, who are, mind you, both undrafted free agents from 2022, but are just developmental guys and probably on, like, let's be honest, generally practice squad guys, and Alec Anderson was inactive, healthy scratch every single game. So, I mean, you're looking real thin if you lose David Edwards. But David Edwards re-signed, 2-year deal, $6 million, became apparent once Ryan Bates was traded, $3 million AAV per year. This was a must, if you will. Next, Bill. Now let's get into releases, and these are tough. I feel like Wednesday. Okay, let me rewind here and set the stage here. Wednesday, March 6th, all this went down, right? Now, I wasn't born. I was born in 2003. So what I'm about to say was 3 years before I was born. But apparently, from what I've seen and read and heard from other people and, adults around me and whatnot, and my dad and stuff, on February 10th, 2000, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, and Thurman. So on February 10th, 2000, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, and Thurman Thomas were all caught in the same day. And Bills fans at the time, and still do, they called it Black Thursday because, everyone's getting Can this be called Black Wednesday? Because, like I said, like I said, it's not the same as that, but like March 6th, 2024 will never be forgotten, and it can be related to the Black Thursday in 2000, where those three Hall of Famers were caught. Again, not the same caliber here, but yeah, I mean, it started with Bills release safety Jordan Poyer clearing $5 million in cap space. Now, listen, obviously they cut him because it one of the main reasons they cut him because it clears $5 million in cap space. I understand that. But also, I think if they didn't see not a huge drop off, Jordan Poyer didn't have as massive of a drop off as Micah Hyde did this last season. I mean, Micah Hyde's just ball skills totally went away. His man coverage ability totally went away. And just his ability to keep up with anybody and younger players totally went away. So, I mean, but Jordan Poyer, I feel like if the Bills didn't see a decline and a clear drop off, then they wouldn't. Then they would find a way. Excuse me. They would find a way to keep him. But obviously, you cleared 5 million. And they saw the drop off. They kind of saw the writing on the wall. And this is really sad, right? I mean, it's gonna be weird not seeing Jordan Poyer and Troy White in press conferences around the city, just in off-season stuff. Mike Hyde with his charity baseball game. I hope he still does that. It's always fun seeing pictures and stuff from that in Buffalo there. But it's going to be weird not seeing them in games. And they always ran out in the tunnel together. And let's be honest, Sean McDermott will even admit this. They'll admit this too. In 2017, Sean McDermott comes here. His first free agency signings, Mike Hyde and Jordan Poyer, they're the reason the Bills are here today. Let's not forget, they're one of them. They're a big reason of the turnaround. They're a really big part of the turnaround with the Bills being in literally misery and hell for years to where they are now, and to go on multiple playoff runs, multiple division title runs, and multiple deep playoff runs, mind you. I should say rather. So yeah, they're the reason for the turnaround. One of the big ones at least. And I think Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer should both go on the wall of now listen, I'm saying Micah Hyde is in like he's gone. He hasn't officially re-signed, he hasn't officially walked away or officially retired yet, but come on. We can see it coming. He's gonna retire in the next couple of weeks, I feel like, with free agency literally starting 3 days from now. Well, the negotiating window at least on Monday. But yeah, just my initial thoughts: Jordan Poyer and Mike Hyde should go on the Wall of Fame together. If the Bills ever decide to, get the courage to put someone in the Wall of Fame again, I mean, come on, Kyle Williams should have been in there years ago. I think the last player they put in there is Lorenzo Alexander up there in the Wall of Fame, and I think they put him in there in 2015. So like, come on, just Jordan Poyer and Mike Hyde should go in together, but. It's going to be sad. These two, I thought they would want to stagger, if you will. I thought they would want to stagger trying to replace the safeties. Mike Hyde retire this offseason and then have Jordan Poyer retire or go somewhere else next offseason when his contract is up. But apparently they didn't want to do that. They didn't agree with me. So I feel like, yes, this is cap casualty, if you will. Actually, it is a cap casualty, let's be honest. But it's also, they saw the writing on the wall. And I applaud Brandon Beane. You can't be afraid to reset. Younger and cheaper is going to be my mantra, and others, I hope, of Bills fans this offseason, this draft. Younger and cheaper, especially at safety. I mean, safety, they were just old, right? Micah Hyde, 33. Jordan Poyer, literally 33. Micah Hyde's actually going to be 34 in December, and Jordan Poyer is going to be 33 next month in like mid-April, I think. Whatever, getting off track. I really am going to miss them, but I mean, the Chiefs do this. They're not afraid to reset. They moved on from Tyreek Hill in his prime. They didn't care. They went on to win 2 Super Bowls in a row after that. They moved on from Tyrann Mathieu because he was getting to 30. He was almost hitting 30. They didn't care. As long as they have, and they're about to trade L'Jarius Sneed, they don't care. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones, assuming they re-sign this offseason to a mega contract extension, excuse me, then they could just figure it out. All you need is Mahomes, Kelce, and Jones, and they'll just figure it out. But it's going to be weird, man, not seeing Poyer and Hyde together. I mean, when you think of Jordan Poyer, think of Mike Hyde. When you think of Mike Hyde, you think of Jordan Poyer. What's that term? They're synonymous with each other. I mean, they really are. They embody what Buffalo means in 7 years, especially, excuse me, especially for a safety, let alone a safety one of them, let alone a safety tandem. Safeties are kind of like, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but other than running back, like you can develop them pretty quickly. And Sean McDermott, that's his bread and butter. Secondaries, but safety specifically. So I mean, when you think of one, you got to think the other. Pull your and hide that is. So it's going to be weird, but whew, you have to do what we want to do. But that started a frenzy because we weren't done. Now this is positive news. This isn't saying goodbye to a player thing. Bills restructure cornerback Rasul Douglas's contract, clearing $2.5 million in cap space. Now that's significant. This is about a $7 million difference, roughly, because Douglas was originally on the Bucks before this restructure of the contract to $9.9 million in 2024. People were suggesting you can cut Rasul Douglas and save that $9 million. No, why would he's a ball hawk? He's pretty athletic for his age. Yeah, he's 31, but he's pretty athletic for his age, and he just gravitates towards the ball. I don't know what to tell you. So I would, I know. Listen, an extension to save cap space was clearly on the table, but well, clearly in my opinion, I guess not in Brandon Bean's opinion, it's what 1-2 year extension. But he is 31, so maybe he doesn't want to like tie himself into until he's 32, 33, maybe even turning 34. So maybe he doesn't want to tie himself into that aging player. But excuse me, but yeah, so I don't know, but restructure is good. And then Bills released defensive back Saran Neal, clearing $3 million cap space. Now listen, I was saying this, a lot of other fans and media members didn't like that people were bringing this up, but I feel like Saran Neal kind of had to be cut. He was a 2018 draft pick, so 18-19. Well, 6 years in Buffalo in 2023. I've heard division rivals are already on his tail, like already looking at him heavily. So when free agency opens next week, so Jets, Patriots, Dolphins, I think it would be great for the Patriots, as much as I hate to say it, much to my chagrin, I should say, because they emphasize special teams over there, even with the transition from Bill Belichick, Gerard Mayo. But $3 million in the books for a special teams only player, and he really declined in his ability as a gunner, and his ability as a tackler on special teams, and he literally provides nothing on defense. I know he's 6'1" and he can play corner and safety, and he was Taron Johnson's backup at slot corner. I know in the past, every time they play the Chiefs, they try to use him as a bigger body to defend Travis Kelce, and he was arguably the worst one out there in trying to do that. So, and then Taron Johnson's backup in the slot plus nickel. Ooh, could you imagine if Taron Johnson was out for any extended period of time and Saran Neal would have to come in and play like 2, 3, or even 4 games? Nightmare situation. So clearing $3 million for a declining special teams player, and literally a player that offers literally nothing on defense. Not to be harsh, but it's true. For Saran Neal clearing $3 million, that was kind of obvious. Although I know many media members shot it down, but I always thought it was kind of obvious. And then next, Bills release center Mitch Morse, clearing $8.5 million in cap space. It's a lot to clear, guys. But I was shocked by this because Mitch Morse said at the end of the season, locker clean out, when media was there for that day, locker clean out day, that I anticipate to be back to the Bills, and I would like to be back to the Bills. I understand it's a business. Again, paraphrasing with all his quotes, don't remember the exact word for word quote, but NFL's a business. I recognize that. If the Bills will have me back, I'll be back. And Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott echo that sentiment as well. This shocked me, though. Yeah, not because like 8.5 is a lot, but like that's a 5-year starter, and Mitch Morse is always the leader of this offense and this team in general. I mean, you could have used him. He was a great asset to Cyrus Torrance, who started next to him at right guard, and then Connor McGovern. There was a lot to change with this offensive line. Spencer Brown finally developed. Deion Dawkins and Mitch Morse have worked extremely well together. But Cyrus Torrance, he guided him along as a rookie. So this one really did shock me, honestly. I'm still shocked by it. And apparently, according to multiple different reports, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, Tim Graham of The Athletic, certain Bills beat reporters and insiders, whatever, they said they're reporting that the Bills are planning to move Connor McGovern to center and have David Edwards slide in as the starting left guard. I don't know how that's going to work, guys. Connor McGovern, all with the Cowboys. In his 5-year NFL career, he's only played 100 total snaps at center in his 5-year NFL career, all with the Cowboys the first 4 years of his career. That's an experiment if I've ever seen one. So I don't know if this still shocks me to this day. I say to this day after 2 days ago. But you're moving David Edwards from the bench to left guard, which I've said David Edwards is starting caliber guard in this league. I fully believe that. The Rams under Aaron Cromie is very good. He was very good, I should say. Now he follows Aaron Cromer to Buffalo, but you're taking off a key depth piece. No more Ryan Bates, no more David Edwards because he's starting now, presumably left guard. Now your depth is Tommy Doyle, Alec Anderson, and Jermaine Ifedi. Jermaine Ifedi and Ryan Vandermark. I like Ryan Vandermark. I like Alec Anderson. Is cool developmental stories, as like I said earlier, undrafted free agents in 2022. That can't be like. If Deion Dawkins gets hurt, you're going to rely on Ryan Vandermark for a whole game? I don't think so. If anyone gets hurt, you're going to rely on any of those guys. And Tommy Doyle coming off 2 torn ACLs 2 years in a row? I don't think so. So, in Jermaine Ifedi, who's a practice squad caliber player, yeah. The theme is, I don't think so. So, you got to get more depth here. But once again, release center Mitch Morse. Yes, it clears $8.5 million, but this is losing 2 key leadership and glue guys, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Jerome Perry released Mike Hyde. 99% sure he's retiring. I'll be shocked if he comes back. I'll be shocked if he plays for another team even. Plays football again at all. You're losing leadership in Jordan Poyer, Mike Hyde, and then you're losing leadership in Mitch Morse. Other than Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs, because that's a whole topic in and of itself. But other than those guys, leadership now, Deion Dawkins, you got to step up in leadership. Taron Johnson, Matt Milano on defense. And the rest of the guys are really young. Defense line's young with Oliver Rousseau and Ebenezer, assuming we get them back. I think Leonard Floyd's going to walk. And then offense, Deion Dawkins. So that's losing 2 key leadership in Jordan Poyer and Mitch Morse, respectively, here. Next, Bills. I couldn't really care less about this one, but Bills released wide receiver Deontay Hardy, clearing $4.3 million in cash space. For what he gave you, there was no way in hell you were keeping him on the book for $4.3 million. This is obvious. Now, there were some rumblings out there that people were believing, well, if Nyheim Hines was caught, will Deontay Hardy be kept in 2024 for next season, for next year, because they were competing, if you will, for that return spot. Well, maybe you just overhaul that return spot. Maybe you do need a kick return now. Maybe Khalil Shakir does it. He can do it in his career. Serves really good at that. But you don't want to feature part of your offense, risk getting injured for punt return. Maybe so I wouldn't do that. Maybe you re-sign Ty Johnson to come back and do that. Maybe you draft a day 3 corner safety to do that. You need a return guy now. But releasing Deontay Hardy $4.3 million, yeah, okay, yeah, you go, buddy. Great, buddy. You had a return touchdown, a kick return touchdown in the Dolphins game that helped us win the ACs for 4th year in a row. But other than that, what the hell did you do? So cutting him to save $4.3 million against the cap is obvious to me. I should say. And the next one, this still, I can't believe this, but I get why they did, but this one is heartbreaking. This one breaks me up, honestly. Broken up by this one. Bills released cornerback Tre'Davious White and designate him a post-June 1st cut, clearing $10.2 million in cap space. To get the technicality out of the way, post-June 1st cut, yeah, Trey White is free to sign with any other team starting next year when the new league year starts on March 13th, so next Wednesday. But since it's a post-June 1st cut, you won't get those cap savings. You won't see the $10.2 million in savings till after post-June 1st, so after June 1st. So on June 2nd, he'll come off the books. Until then, though, his 10.2 is still on the books. This broke me up, though, man. Like I said, I mean, I'll keep saying Trey White, I feel so bad. He worked. I kind of over the place right now because this one really makes me kind of emotional. But he worked so hard, and like he is one of the very first. When I really started getting the Bills and following the Bills and becoming a football fan in general in 2017, Trey White was there as a rookie. Sensational rookie season. I still maintain and believe to this day that he should have won Defensive Rookie of the Year over Marshawn Lattimore in 2017. But back then, I wasn't really in the weeds of it. But looking back, it should have. But when I first became a Bills fan, back to the story, when I first became a Bills fan, fell in love with Trey White immediately. I mean, his energy he brought. I mean, from 2017 to 2020, and then that 2019 All-Pro season was the best season. Trey White was a dog. He was a ball hawk. I mean, he stride for stride with every receiver, multiple interceptions. He lots of memorable moments in Buffalo. It's just sad to see him tear his ACL once, tears ACL on Thanksgiving in 2021, miss basically over half the season in 2022. Only player had full games down the stretch. Never looked like himself though. And then 2023, in the 3 games he played, he looked maybe not in that 2019 All Pro form, but damn like a Pro Bowler at least. And then tears his Achilles in 2023, week 4 against the Dolphins. Slams his helmet in frustration. This one really, really hurt. I don't know. You can probably tell by my tone of voice right now. Yes, Jordan Poyer, longtime mainstay. I get it though. Mitch Morse, it shocked me. The shock value was for sure there. But Trey White, this is an unfortunate reality that I just was not expecting. This one really, really broke me up inside. So, I mean, this is how emotional it got for me. I was watching right after he was cut, right after I got home for my internship. I watched Trey White highlights on YouTube to remember the glory days, if you will. Like I said, from 2017 to 2020, his first 4 years of his career before injuries derailed him. He was a dog, man. So I was watching highlights and I damn near teared up. Like, I love Trey White, and I don't think I'll ever forget him. This one really, really hurts out of all of them. This one really kind of is heartbreaking to me and emotional. So anyway, kind of a positive thing. Bills, after that kind of soapbox, if you will. What was I saying? Bills agreed to rework contract with defensive end Von Miller. This was the Von Miller move we were all anticipating, whether it was a release or restructure or rework contract. Deal has these are now this isn't a regular like restructure contract. You're not committing them for future years. No void years at the end. What that means is you're still going to be paying for players whether they're on your team or not. Like the Bills will be paying for Leonard Floyd when he's likely on the team. They have like $6 million in void year because of dead cap. He won't even be in the team. But per Field Yates ESPN, he broke this down wonderfully. So thank him for that. Bet Miller is now as a base value for 2024, $8.855 million in 2024, with the chance to make up to $20 million with incentives. It was originally 17 in the original deal before the rework deal. This move saves the Bills. This move saves the Bills 8.645 million in 2024 cap space. This was needed. You had to do something. There's been rumblings out there. It sounds like from this that if Von Miller didn't agree to rework or renegotiate his contract, however you want to look at it and term it, he was going to be cut post June 1st cut. They would eat the money. Who cares? They were ready to move on. So listen, he reaches that 20 million as opposed to the original 17 in incentives. That's like $12 million in extra incentives, but they're sack number incentives. I got to see the specific sack numbers, but I doubt he'll hit all of that. Maybe a few million of that, but I doubt he'll hit all of that. I mean, come on. Did you see him this past season? He was like a ghost out there. We were cheering for him like he was Tyrell Dodson. He's an undrafted free agent. So we were cheering for Von Miller like he was an undrafted free agent, like literally tracking his 3 tackles he had in the year. Like, oh yeah, he made a tackle. Yeah, Hall of Famer, but we were cheering for him like he's an undrafted free agent. So yeah, that was necessary. And then Bills signed QB Mitch Trubisky to 2-year, $5.25 million deal. That's whatever. This is the key. So it's a Trubisky $2.625 million AAV, so average annual value per year. And then but $2.7 million guaranteed before free agency even starts to guarantee that guy $2.7 million. Really kind of puzzling to me. I would have drafted a day 3 quarterback like Joe Milton, Sam Hartman for Notre Dame, go Irish. Jordan Travis, someone like that, some high tools guy who can really not flourish, but learn behind Josh Allen, at least sit on the practice squad. But unfortunately, they're probably not going to do that now. They love familiar faces. At least it's a familiar face in Mitch Trubisky, but people seem to be way more happy about this than I am. To guarantee a guy $2.7 million is really kind of not frustrating, but puzzling me before free agency even starts. Okay, last, so 12th move here. Bills re-signed safety Taylor Rapp to a 3-year, $14.5 million deal, $4.83 million AAV per year. That's starter money. That's not backup money. That's starter money. I was fully expecting Jordan Poyer to be back, so I said don't bring back Taylor Rapp because I really like his physicality at the line. I think he's better like when he is in the box than some of those like hybrid dime packages, although Poyer did that a lot. I think that contributed to his drop off. But Taylor Rapp, I enjoy his physicality, I appreciate it, but his coverage ability is just not there. And he plays kind of recklessly. Like every time he makes a really strong tackle, I feel like he injures himself or his teammates more often than not. So he's got to kind of corral that going into his 6th year in the league, second with the Bills. So kind of rein that in, buddy. But yeah, now this is a must resign when they cut Jordan Poyer, and I wouldn't mind seeing Cam Lewis back. He can either play safe. I think he's ready to be a start safety. Now, if your starting safety duo is Taylor Rapp and Cam Lewis, I won't be mad at it. That's kind of like I was expected to be next year Jordan Poyer and Cam Lewis, to be honest with you. But yeah. Anyways, Taylor Rapp signs 3-year, um, $14.5 million. That's $4.83 million AAV. That's not backup money. That's started by. And then Bill signed punter Matt Hack to a 1-year, $1.1 million deal. Literally vet minimum. Yeah. Okay. Woohoo! It's competition for Sam Martin. So Sam Martin going to be cut next because you can save like 1.5 million, 1.5 million by 1.5 million by cutting Sam Martin. I would have brought back Matt Rice, but he's signed with the Chiefs, so I guess we didn't act this. Anyway, tough day, March 6th, 2024 for the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, though, out of all of them, Troy White really breaks me up. I think it's fair to say this is the end of an era for Buffalo, and relax, okay? Non-Bills fans, the Bills in general, media and people, the Bills are not rebuilding. They're retooling. I mean, the overreactions of this are just so stupid. I saw a title in yesterday on YouTube. The Bills are falling apart. Yeah, okay, you sure, right, get your clicks, I guess. You get your numbers up. You must have to, you got to earn that money somehow, right? Anyway, yeah. So anyway, the next week is free agency on Monday, March 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern. The negotiating period opens, so teams can start talking to players and their agents and whatnot, so on and so forth, so they can verbally commit. But on Wednesday, I think also at 12 p.m. Eastern, the new league year starts. So that's when all these cuts become official. The Ryan Bates trade becomes official and whatnot. And these players like Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, and Trey White mainly will be able to sign with new teams then. Just keep your hands swivel for Around the Slice for this podcast because I'm definitely going to have 2 shows next week. I'm going to have a Monday show after the first day first. It'll be late Monday night, but still Monday evening, I should say, rather. Depending on how much craziness we have. I'm sure we'll have a lot. A Monday show to start the week and a Friday show to end the week. But we may have a live stream in there. We may have an episode in there. Just pay attention to my socials, everything. If you want to pay attention to my Patreon for different free agency updates, it's patreon.com/runtheslice for just $3 a month. I'm going to start ramping it up again. First reaction to initial free agency buzz. I don't promote this nearly enough as I should. Sorry about that. But TikTok, Around the Slice on TikTok. You can follow me there. Again, Around the Slice on TikTok because, again, initial reactions. And then in addition, on Twitter, you can follow me personally at AWeingartner13 and then follow the show at Around the Slice. So we got you covered all from Patreon to TikTok to Twitter. So yeah, anyways, guys, thank you for listening to this episode. Again, this is kind of like, I don't want to say it's not structured, but I don't really have any notes. Wednesday was an emotional day, especially Trey White. So yeah, end of an era for Buffalo. And I think we can all agree that they're kind of not rebuilding, but they're retooling. I guess you can't be afraid to get younger and cheaper. That's going to be the mantra of this offseason. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I will see you next week. Busy week ahead.